Hello, this is Chiranjeevi working as a TGT English in Lotus High School. Today, let us discuss the poem Amanda, written by Robin Klein. Let us know some information about Robin Klein. Robin Klein. She is a well-known Australian author of books for children. She was born 28 February 1936 in Kempsey, New South Wales, and now resides near Melbourne. She is the poetess of the poem. Let me read the poem. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. There is a language, emerald sea, where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. Let me give the difficult words from this stanza. Let me give the word meanings. Bite means, cut. Hunch means raise. Hunch your shoulders, raise your shoulders. Slouching means sitting in a bad and ideal posture. And straight means proper, sitting properly, an upright manner. And languid means relaxed and peaceful. Emerald means green. So green sea. Inhabitants means lone person living. And mermaid, a sea creature you can find in the sea. Drifting blissfully means moving slowly. Okay, these are the difficult words in the poem. Let me explain this stanza. So in this stanza, Amanda is instructed by her parents not to bite her nails and sit lazily with her shoulders bent. So this is a bad position, sitting like lazily with her shoulders bent. And she lacks proper etiquette. In this stanza, if you observe, the second stanza is given in the brackets and it throws light on the presented situation in the poem. It happens everywhere in the society. She imagines herself like a free and joyful mermaid. Mermaid means a sea creature. So she is sailing freely as she likes in the emerald waters. In the green sea, usually she is just moving joyfully. And this is the explanation about the first stanzas. So if you observe the explanation here, one of the parents sees Amanda biting her nails. The parents tells Amanda not to bite her nails. She is also not to bend her shoulders and to sit up straight. The parent nags Amanda for sitting lazily with her shoulders bent into a stoop. But Amanda is lost in her own dreams. She imagines herself to be a mermaid, drifting joyfully with the soft waves of the green sea. She imagines that she is the sole inhabitant of the beautiful sea, and there is no one to nag or disturb her. So this is the explanation about. Okay, let me read the third and fourth stanzas of this poem. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. I am an orphan, roaming the street. I patterned soft dust with my hushed bare feet. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. So what are the difficult words in these two stanzas? Tidy means clean. Orphan means one whose parents are dead. Roaming means wandering here and there. Pattern means make designs. Hushed means silent. Bare means shoeless. So these are the difficult words in the poem. Let me give the explanation about these stanzas. Amanda's parents ask her if she has finished her homework or not, and asked her whether she has cleaned her room or not. She is also instructed to clean her shoes. So they are always instructing this girl to do this work and that work. Here if you observe in the brackets, the first line, I am an orphan. This line expresses Amanda's helplessness and awful depression. She is greatly dejected and disappointed. Why she is greatly dejected and disappointed? Because of the irrational instructions of her parents. And continuous questioning simply troubles her emotionally. She is troubling herself emotionally. She has no shoes on her feet as she creates a pattern on the soft dust with her bare and hushed feet. You know, hushed means silence. She walks in a hushed manner. Even she is walking in a very silent manner. Even though what happens here, she cherishes the silence and freedom to do as she likes to do. So that's why the last line is quoted. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. So being silent is really a great thing. So even when we compare these two, golden and silence and freedom, these two are really great things according to Amanda. This is the explanation what I have explained. So this is the explanation part. The parent asks Amanda if she has finished her homework. She is asked if she has tidied her room. She had been asked to clean her shoes also. The parent asks her if she has done that. But Amanda is lost in her own thoughts. She imagines herself to be an orphan with no parents to nag her. She feels happy in being an orphan. She imagines that she is roaming in the street with bare feet. She is making soft patterns as she puts her feet gently in the dust. There is all silence about her, with no one to nag her. For the little girl, this silence is golden, and this freedom is so sweet. Okay, let me read the fifth stanza of this poem. Don't eat that chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda. Will you please look at me when I am speaking to you, Amanda? I am a Raffenger. I have not a care. Life in a tower is tranquil and rare. I will certainly never let down my bright hair. So let me give the difficult words, the meanings for these words. What are the difficult words here? Acne means pimples on your face. And tranquil means peaceful, and rare means uncommon. Let down means let fall down. So these are the difficult words we can find in the stanzas. Let me give the brief explanation about this. Here, don't eat the chocolate, Amanda. She is asked not to eat chocolates as she will develop acne on her face. Acne means pimples we have seen. It implies care and attention towards the external appearance and its values. She is made conscious of the natural phenomenon of developing acne. Here we can observe the parents are strictly warns Amanda not to eat chocolates. And here, Amanda is still in the world of her imagination. If you observe, she imagines to be the long golden haired Rapunzel who lived in a castle. See, Rapunzel is the name of a German fairy tale. Rapunzel is a German fairy tale. It's a character who was made to live in a high tower. She thinks that Rapunzel's life must have been very peaceful and contented while living in that high tower. But she doesn't want Rapunzel's fate that was meted out to her. She doesn't want to let down her bright eye. She seeks Rapunzel like life far away from the life she is at present living. The inhuman treatment has sapped Amanda's inclination towards human society. She doesn't have any faith in the human society and its cruel demands on her freedom and personal space. So she is not getting freedom properly from her parents. Okay, see the explanation here. The parent sees Amanda eating a chocolate and tells her not to eat that. The parent says that Amanda must not have forgotten the agony that she had got previously. However, Amanda is lost in her own dreams and doesn't look up to the parent. At this, the parent feels irritated. He says that Amanda should at least look at him when he is speaking to her. But Amanda remains lost in her dreams. She imagines herself to be golden-haired Rapunzel who lived in a castle and had no care. Amanda imagines that life for Rapunzel must have been very peaceful and wonderful in the tower. However, she says that she won't let down her bright hair the way Rapunzel had done. All the troubles of Rapunzel, as we know, had started because of her doing so. So this is the explanation part of these two stanzas. Okay, let me read the last stanza of this poem. Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You are always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. So let me give the meanings for the difficult words. Here, sulking means getting bad tempered. Moody means changing moods. Nagged means teasing someone. Okay, let us see a brief explanation about this stanza. So here explanation is there. The parent keeps talking to Amanda about the various do's and don'ts, but Amanda remains lost in her own dreams. The parent thinks that Amanda is not responding because she is angry. He feels annoyed and asks Amanda to stop sulking at once. He says that it has become a habit with Amanda to remain irritated always. On seeing her, one would say that the parent has nagged at her and that is why Amanda is looking gloomy. Gloomy means very sad. The parent doesn't want Amanda to give others such an impression. So here we can come to know this is a cruel situation as Amanda's parents are harming Amanda's natural growth due to the compulsions in the society. Not only this, Amanda's parents still continue with their harsh instructions. So this made her getting irritation towards them. So being a child, she needs freedom. As it is said in the first stanza, silence is golden and freedom is sweet. Okay, before going to explain the poetic devices, let me give a small idea about the poem, the central idea of the poem. The central idea of the poem is that children have certain habits. Even our own children also, they have certain habits. Their parents teach them to mend those habits. These are for their benefits. Children have these habits because they want freedom. They want to feel naturally at home in them. Amanda has certain habits. She is politely asked to mend those. So this is the central idea of the poem. So we should treat our children very carefully. And let us see the poetic devices: alliteration, metaphor, allusion and rhyme scheme. Let me see the rhyme scheme first. So if you observe the last words of the each line, the stanzas, so you can observe the rhyme scheme: AA, BA, CCC, AA, DA, EEE, GGG, AA, HA. You can observe the rhyme scheme. And let me see the alliterations, the repetition of the consonant sounds. Here S is repeated in the examples. Here even metaphor. Two metaphors are used here. One is silence is golden and orphan. So a metaphor is nothing but an implied simile is called metaphor. Here orphan, she is not an orphan but she treated in such a way. And here allusion is used, a person or the myth. So it is something unknown character, may be taken from the history or from the myth or from the literature. Here mermaid and Rapunzel, these two characters are taken from the myth or from literature. So here mermaid, so mermaid means a sea creature, and Rapunzel, it is also a German folktale character who lived in a high tower. So we can observe these poetic devices in the poem. So thank you very much.
In the poem, Robin Klein contrasts the scolding tone of an adult with the dreamy tone of Amanda, who wants freedom from instruction. Through this contrast, Klein explores the contrast between the themes of inordinate amount of parental control and a child's desire for freedom. Here is the summary of the poem Amanda by Robin Klein. The adult speaker, in a frustrated tone, instructs Amanda not to bite her nails or bend her shoulders. Then the adult tells Amanda to sit in the correct posture. Amanda, on the other hand, dreams of an emerald sea where she can lazily drift like a mermaid. In the sea, no adults are telling her what to do or how to behave. There is nothing but bliss in her dream, bliss at doing nothing. The lines are bracketed to show the reader that Amanda is daydreaming during the adult scolding. The adult speaker returns in the next stanza, where she sharply questions Amanda on whether she has finished her homework or cleaned her room or her shoes. While in the first stanza, Amanda was being instructed on how to behave, the second interjection by adult shows her controlling Amanda's day-to-day activities. We see the impact of constant scolding on Amanda when she dreams of being an orphan on the street. As an orphan, she would make patterns on the dust covering the street with her bare feet. Here, she dreams of living in silence and freedom, where her life is not punctuated with screams of adults telling her what to do. The adult returns in the next stanza by forbidding Amanda to eat chocolate because it will only add more pimples to her face. The adult is also angered by Amanda's daydreaming and tells her sharply to pay attention when the adult is talking to her. Amanda now dreams of becoming Rapunzel. Rapunzel is a fairy tale character with long golden hair who lived alone in a tower. In the story, Rapunzel threw her hair down from the tower window so a prince could climb up her hair, come into the tower and rescue her. Amanda, on the other hand, doesn't need a prince to rescue her. Rather, she wants to escape into the tower and stay alone in the tower, for such a solitary life is rare. The poem concludes with sharp words from the adult about Amanda's moodiness, which might give the wrong impression to outsiders. The adult clearly believes that an ideal child should be happy, well-behaved and obedient, and hence is trying to mold Amanda into that image. Interestingly, the poem concludes with the adult's lines. This reinforces Amanda's lack of control over her life. Now, let us look at the literary elements of the poem Amanda. The name Amanda is repeated in the poem to emphasize on the restrictions imposed on Amanda by the adult speaker. Other repeated words by the adult speaker are don't, stop, and did, which further emphasize on the theme of control. An allusion is an indirect reference to a person, place, thing, and idea. In the poem, Amanda briefly refers to becoming a mermaid and Rapunzel. A mermaid is a sea creature who is half woman and half fish and lives in the sea. Rapunzel is a character from a fairy tale. Amanda in the poem alludes to these figures to stress on her desire to escape from her parents and live a life of freedom. The poem contains alliterative words to enhance the rhyme of the poem. In the poem, stop that slouching and sit up straight and stop that sulking are examples of alliteration. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. There is a languid emerald sea, where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. In the poem, the rhyme scheme alternates between stanzas. Let's take a look at the first stanza. The name Amanda is repeated thrice in the poem. Let us assign A to Amanda and B to straight. So, the rhyme scheme for this stanza would be AABA. Now, let's look at the second stanza. The words see, me, and blissfully rhyme with each other. Let us assign C to these words. So, the rhyme scheme of this stanza would be C, C, C. Now notice the last stanza of the poem. Amanda's bracketed lines do not follow these lines. So, the rhyme scheme for this stanza would be AABA.
I would like to give an assignment. It's a home task. So 295, page number 295 from your golden guide. Write these questions 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Write these 6 questions for your homework. Page number 295, golden guide.